So I was just on earlier. I decided to hop back on because I had a client, but the client didn't show up. And so I got another client for like an hour and 30 minutes. And so I'm gonna hop on and do some $11 readings, which are 3 card pulls, just to see where y'all are or where y'all coming from, where y'all are and where y'all going. Let me know if you want to read in. Um, I don't know what's going on with the energy today. Like I feel like I woke up and I just want to fix the divine feminine. Like that's literally all I've been thinking about for these last couple of days is how the patriarchy has fucked us all and how women have to suppress themselves and be smaller and all of these things just to even be in community with other people to survive in this climate. It's so unfortunate. And so that was on my mind this morning. I was about to make a video about it, but I couldn't. And so maybe I'll start with a collective reading. I have about an hour and maybe 20 minutes before my next client comes on, which is cool. I'm sad about my other client not showing up. I really, really, really could not wait to do a session all week. It's about to be such a good session. Um, but you can't control how life happens. Okay, so I got the awakened flame in reverse. Okay, the soul fragment. Ooh, so we doing some soul retrieval right now as a collective. Um, which is good shit. That's what stage we in right now. That makes sense though, because I think a lot of the astrological stuff that's been going on, the solar flares, all of the things like that have been very much so soul retrieval energy. Okay, in the sacred spiral. Okay, we trying to realign right now. All right, so the first card that I get for the collective, I don't know if my music is too loud, but it's kind of too loud for me. But the first card that I get for the collective is spiritual bypassing, ungrounded light, fantasy without foundation, doubt, fear of foolishness, fragmentation, self-abandonment. So in the shadow, the awakening flame can signal a premature leap, moving too quickly into spiritual identity without integration. This is actually something that I feel like comes up a lot for me as a medium. And when I meet with people, it's so many people who are trying to move through their spiritual journey very quick because in society we're rewarded off of our performance, so we think we just got to do more, and it causes this spiritual bypassing, meaning like people will convince themselves that they've healed from something, and so they never look at it again, and then they wondering why they still stuck and feel stagnant on their journey. And it's because you have to reach the resonance of something. It's not about performance. There's no reward there's no reward for you getting through this quickly, right? And so you may be chasing the high of remembering without tending to the roots. The shadow here is not the fire. It's forgetting to bring it into your body, meaning like integrating it into your body. So it may also reflect the tendency to bypass the lessons of the moment, craving escape rather than embodiment. If you find yourself overwhelmed by options, ideas, or destiny talk without grounded action, this card invites you to pause and to center in presence. You may feel fragmented or disconnected from your body. This card asks you to pause, recenter, and honor the truth that is emerging without forcing clarity. You are behind. You're not behind. You are arriving. I think this is really important too, because the conversation that I just had when I was just on live an hour ago, and I was talking about Earth and how a lot of us are not grounded or rooted into our body, which is why it's hard for us to manifest. It's hard for us to be in our power, right? Because we've been externalized in such a huge way. And so this is the card for the past when it comes to the collective, right? So a lot of us were struggling to integrate. We were spiritually bypassing, partly too because they be selling us that love and light bullshit. Like love and light is not what this journey is about. I promise you, it is not the easiest journey. Okay. You're going to meet yourself, fall apart, all of the things. You got to go through the darkness in order for you to get to the light. So sometimes the soul awakens before the human self is ready to hold it. This is what I find with a lot of my mentees is they'll want to do the healing. However, when we start doing the healing is too emotionally overwhelming. Like it's a fear of vulnerability, a fear of feeling and being present with your emotions, that whole thing. So understand that's okay. This card reminds you that awakening is not a race. You can take your time, let the flame integrate, let the body trust it. It may also indicate that you may be resisting your inner call. This can manifest as a fear of being judged, a fear of failure. I think that one probably is the heaviest that I see in other people, is a fear of failure, because we do live in this performance culture where everybody is trying to be perfect. And so if you can't make the perfect next step, a lot of people just won't make the step at all, which causes stagnation. So also a feeling that you are not ready. People feeling like they're not ready to integrate. You may be seeking certainty or external validation, delaying your sacred path because you believe you need permission. So this card, where we're coming from in the collective, the advice of this card is don't abandon the path out of fear of looking foolish. Like, allow yourself to make mistakes, allow yourself to fail forward. It also tells you you don't have to leap to be lit. Ground first and then move, meaning you got to get rooted into your body. You got to get on your own sacred rhythm. You got to reconnect to the earth and get on earth's rhythm. And when you can move with those cycles, a lot of the steps that you take are going to be a lot more aligned. Okay. The next thing that I get where we are as a collective is at the soul fragment. Okay. This is the soul fragment. Gorgeous, gorgeous card. Probably one of my favorite cards in the deck, but it is inverted. Okay. So this is, all three of these cards are big things. So that means big shifts are actually happening in the collective. So this soul fragment in reverse is about addictive patterns. It's about self-abandonment, trust wounds, amnesia, internal exile, disconnection, avoidance, spiritual bypass, and identity confusion, and being stuck in a loop. We have been stuck in a trauma loop as a collective. Okay. So in the shadow, this card reveals that the patterns that arise when soul loss goes unknowledged: addiction, chronic disconnection, looping relationship wounds, seeking validation through unhealed parts, or an inability to trust. These are all signs that part of you has not been fully integrated. Okay. So we get the card, we're not integrating. Because of our inability to integrate, we have this energy. Okay. That means soul fragment. We're living in fragmentation. Okay. You may find yourself repeating old pain unconsciously, not because you are broken, but because a lost part of you is still reenacting the moment it went missing. When in shadow, this card warns of resisting integration. Again, you may dismiss your pain as already healed, avoid the discomfort of memory, or become overwhelmed by the emotions of your fragment without anchoring the present self. There may also be amnesia around your spiritual gifts, or a lingering sense that something vital was erased. These are sacred signs, not flaws, but when unexamined, they can become anchors for shame, avoidance, and numbing. The shadow of the soul fragment asks for gentleness. It's easy to become frustrated or impatient when you're with yourself here, but this is soul level recovery. There's no rush, only rhythm, meaning you just got to get into the rhythm of your body. Okay. The advice here is you don't have to heal it all at once. Just love what's here enough to stay. Okay. Don't over-identify with your wounds, because I think a lot of us over-identify with our wounds. We don't know who we are when we're not suffering. I think that was something that I had to deal with as well. Like I didn't know who I was when I wasn't constantly depressed or anxious. And so I would find myself being happy, but then I'm fighting to be back in that depression loop. I don't know how else to explain it to y'all. It's really wild. Okay. You are more than what you lost. Okay. Meaning, like, anytime I get happy, all of a sudden I start thinking about the things that used to make me sad, or I start thinking about the things that I've been through in life and stuff like that. And just, all of the things. Where we need to move towards is the sacred spiral. Okay. Stop thinking of things so linearly, there being one truth that exists. Instead, allowing ourselves to be a little bit more multidimensional. And giving ourselves grace and space. Okay. So this card is actually about completion and integration. So this cycle of us abandoning ourselves, this cycle of us rushing through our spiritual journey and bypassing, that is actually lifting, which makes a lot of sense when I think about the message that I was getting from Spirit this morning, is that we just went through a completion cycle, which was the 999 portal 2 days ago. What we're getting rid of is martyrdom and betrayal and silencing ourselves. There's one other thing that I can't think of, but this is about soul integration. This is about cycle fulfillment, sovereign embodiment, oversoul return, and multidimensional embodiment. The sacred spiral is the culmination of your soul's remembered journey. It is the inhale and exhale of lifetimes, the exodus and the return, the holy closure. To pull this card is to stand at the center of the spiral and realize you are no longer becoming, you are. Right? What was fragmented is now integrated. What was sought is now revealed to be within. The sacred spiral is the final breath before rebirth. You are traveled. You have traveled through flame and shadow, remembered your remembrance and rupture, and now you stand in the center of your own spiral, aware that all paths have been leading back to you. This is the oversoul's integration point. You are no longer walking towards remembrance, you're walking as remembrance. Your oversoul has rooted. Your path no longer needs proving. You offer your presence not from striving, but from sovereign overflow. This is kind of where I am in my journey right now. And it's tough because I'm constantly, or like before, I feel like I would, once I would complete something, I'm on to the next thing. I like, it's like that going type of energy. Right. And so I feel like it came from me trying to prove myself, trying to prove my worth and needing that external validation. And now that I'm at a place in my life where I don't need that, I struggle a little bit because I'm used to spreading myself thin. I'm used to having my hands in all these different pots. But now that I'm aligned with what I'm doing, it's like, what do I do with all that energy? You know? So this card affirms that the soul cycle is complete. What once felt separate is now singing in harmony. You have embodied wisdom not only from this life, but from countless timelines now converging into the sovereign frequency. The sacred spiral reminds you that your path was never linear. You spiral forward by turning inwards. You ascend by rooting deeper, okay? Which means we need to root deeper as a collective, okay? This card is a celebration, a sacred nod from the universe. It may arrive after a long cycle, a personal rebirth, or a full embodiment of a sacred spiral. You are both the journey and destination. You now walk not as a seeker, but as one who carries the codes. The lesson here is you're not here to be completed. You are the completion, meaning like you need to remember who you are. Healing is not linear. Honor the spiral of return. Okay. Let me go back real quick to the chat. So that's where we are on a collective level. Which again, like I said, makes a lot of sense because I feel like I just keep getting messages around the divine feminine being wounded. Hey, Real. I keep getting messages around the divine feminine being wounded and us ending that cycle of martyrdom, of betrayal, of silence. Period. And so yeah, so I wanted to come on because I usually don't. I usually come on Thursdays to do readings, but earlier I did like a whole I did a live about Earth and like how to get us back rooted into Earth. Hey, Lormo. And I don't know why in my head when I was doing that, I thought it was Wednesday. Like I genuinely thought it was Wednesday. And so I was like, oh damn, I done robbed people of their chance to get cheaper readings. So if you are interested in the reading today, I'm doing 3 card pulls for $11. And you can get a 1 card pull for free. Oh Lord, I'm considered a divine feminine. Okay, period. Yeah, that energy is actually collectively being healed. And so it's requiring us to get more rooted into our body, sitting more present with our emotions. So some collective trauma has been coming up, some grief has been coming up, some longing has been coming up. And I be feeling it like a month before shit actually hits the fan. And so I actually got a chance to sit with mine. You know, I feel like presence is so important in the journey. Like not running from those emotions when they come up is so important in the journey. So yeah. So if y'all want some readings, let me know. I'll probably be on here for maybe an hour because I got a client at 5:00 my time and it's 3:50. Has anybody listened to the Destin Conrad alternative jazz album? It's so good, Anthony. I just found out one of my names means Zeus, and I was wondering, is there a connection to Zeus? I don't understand. What question are you asking, my love? Is there a connection to what? Because Zeus is a distorted figure, so that's not something I would want to be connected to. He's the deceiver. Does anybody else have questions? Because I also thought like, because people was telling me that sometimes they just be wanting my advice, and so people like book meet and greets and stuff like that. Does anybody have any like questions to Zeus? Sorry, I know I'm worried about that. No, I wouldn't. I mean, you might vibrate at a frequency similar to that if your name like translates to that. But where are you saying Anthony translates into to Zeus? Like what language? Hey, Tanique. Because I didn't even, let me look that up. Oh, Deontay means Zeus. In what language? Is it in Latin? The name Deontay does not translate into Zeus. The name Deontay is of modern origin and is not related to ancient. The name Zeus originates from the Proto Indo European root deus, meaning sky or daylight, and is a cognate with Latin deus, which means God. Oh, in Greek. Yeah. Yeah, that word is not even a Greek word, though. Okay. In Greek. Does Deontay translate into Zeus in Greek? Hold on. Oh no, I put when I put that in, it says the name Deontay is said to mean Greek god Dionysus of Zeus and lasting. But it doesn't imply that Deontay translates directly into Zeus though. The name Deontay has an English and Greek origin and its pronunciation is given as Deontay, which is associated with the Greek god Zeus through its meaning. It's not a direct translation of the name Zeus, though. The name Zeus itself comes from ancient Greek and refers to supreme ruler of the Greek gods. The connection between Deontay and Zeus appears to be thematic or symbolic rather than linguistic. Oh no, you don't have to apologize, love. I just was trying to figure out what you was talking about because I was like, wait a second. But what's crazy about that though is my dad actually has a tattoo on his arm of Zeus, and he has me and my brother's names in the necklace, like the little necklace of it. And I said, "Sir, I had to write it in, correct it in golden light, because don't trap me into no entity. Don't trap my energy into no entity." Um, but no, but that was a good question. Anybody else got any questions? I'm doing $11 readings, 3 card pulls today. I'll probably be on here for about an hour before I gotta go meet with a client. What has been coming up for y'all collectively? Because I was doing some collective work the other day, and I realized I haven't got on here and done no collective shadow work in a minute, besides like the portal work. But the other day though, I was like getting a client ready for the 999 portal, and I had started looking at like some of the stuff that I'll be assigning for people and like the integration and stuff like that. And one of the questions that came up was, where is it at? Because it was in the emerald. What does my mind know that my heart still doubts? And I had to really sit with that and ponder on that. And a lot of self-worth and inadequacy stuff was coming up. And I just was like, that's so crazy that I do all this work and I'd be like, I don't know, like I guess it's not crazy because I understand like what's happening, but it's so crazy to me that like I've so far in my healing and some of the things that plagued me at the beginning are still coming up. But what spirit was basically telling me is like the deeper that we get into remembrance, it's like peeling back the layer of an onion. Like when your consciousness expands, so does your truth of something. Your truth of something expands as well. So oftentimes when we spiraling, right, because we spiral inwards instead of, because healing doesn't work linearly, like we're on a spiral. And so every time we come back to something, we at a higher level looking down at the same issue. But it allows us an opportunity to deepen our truth around that and to really get to the core of things. And child, sometimes I'll just be thinking that I've healed from stuff, and then that's just not it. I was hearing I could be a reincarnation of his son. I had multiple readings done, and lie to you not, I came back to saying yes. It came back to saying yes. Okay. But Dionysus, like, So the Greek pantheon is just plagiarized Egyptian pantheon. Don't be worried. Like, you create your reality based off of what you believe. Don't let somebody else tell you what to believe about yourself. Okay? Because then you create it. So that's not something I would be worried about. Um Dionysus is correlated to what Egyptian god? Yeah, I feel like sometimes you got to be careful with looking outside of yourself, because a lot of times people will, yeah, Dionysus is Osiris. But a lot of people will put, like, a lot of people will try to tell you who you are. So it's important that you know yourself. Like, you don't have to subscribe to any opinions or assumptions that people have about you. You know, I'm sorry, I'm reading what you sent me. Ptolemaic Egypt, where Ptolemaic rulers claimed descent from Dionysus and lineages from Iris, culminating in ceremonial. Mark Antony was proclaimed Dionysus Osiris alongside Cleopatra as Isis and Aphrodite. I'm still learning that, so I totally understand. Yeah, me too. I feel like that was something that I embodied this year, not letting people project they shit onto me and feeling like just because they say it, I gotta believe it. So I just would be careful with that. I would love a 3 card pull from your deck. Hey Felicia. So I'm doing 3 card pulls, guys. Let me send you. I have Cash App or I have Zelle. My Cash App is bigtajjj, and then my Zelle. I'm putting this in YouTube because TikTok is not going to allow me to put it in a chat. My Zelle is TAJAMOORE16 @gmail. Once I receive your Cash App or Zelle, I'll go ahead and do the reading. But yeah, no, I don't. You don't have to embody what people say about you, my love. Anybody else want to read him while I'm here, or just some random advice? But I love this deck, y'all. I've been doing like people have been purchasing like personal readings from this deck, and it's always so spot on. Like, it amazes me. What random question do you have, California? Hey Jayla. It always shocks me how spot on it is. Well, I mean, I guess I shouldn't be shocked. I created it. I'm very proud of it. But just seeing it come to life, it's just been really interesting. Sure, you fasted before, but what was the longest? What came up for you? The longest I ever fasted? Um, Damn, what was the longest I ever fasted? I think it was 21 days. And a lot. I was fasting at a time. I've told this story before, but somebody had did black magic on me off of something I was saying on TikTok. They didn't like what I said. They did black magic. Very much so felt it. So that's kind of what spearheaded my spiritual journey. But around that time, I fasted because I understood that if I'm at a higher vibration, like that those type of things don't affect you at the same rate when you're at a higher vibration. But it was some powerful magic, I will say that. But I did start understanding a lot about myself. I think I got more clear on who I was. I think that once you get the sugar and the other shit out of your body, what actually happens when you fasting is that you activate your crown chakra, but you also your organs are responsible for internal alchemy, right? And so once you give them a second to recalibrate themselves, most of them within 3 months can be completely different organs. And so I felt lighter. I felt clearer. I eventually started having more energy. At first, I was struggling to sleep a little bit, but I eventually started having more energy. I don't know. It just was like I understood life better. And even with the processing, like I felt like I was processing information really quickly. as well. I was getting downloads. That's the first time when I did that fast, was when I truly understood what the difference between divine masculine energy and divine feminine energy. And I was on the internet always trying to distinguish the two. But yeah, it just made me clearer, I would say, because it clears out your crown, which is where you receive divine information. Okay. So I got Miss Fifi. All right, Felicia, let's see. All right, my love. Felicia. What do we got for our girl Felicia today? Wow, I love that. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, we got some water energy. We actually got 4 cards for you, my love. All right. So let's go back. So the first card I get for you, Felicia, you with me? Can you put a 111 in the chat for me? I just want to make sure you ain't hop out while I was yapping. You still with me, girl? I feel like I haven't been able to sustain a fast lately. It's okay. It takes time, boo, because I feel like the old version of me and the new in this version of me, they don't be on the same shit. And I think what it is that our motivations are kind of changing. Our motivations change. For me, I had to do that fast because I felt like my life was in danger. Now that'll put a fire under your ass that just doing it for yourself will not put under your ass. You know what I'm saying? So I'll be struggling to just what I do is like watermelon fast at least, or I'll intermittent fast where I only eat between 12 and 8 because that'll just, fasting is hard. Okay. So Felicia, the first card I get for you is the Page of Waters. This is emotional openness. This is vulnerability, intuition, dreamer energy. This is gentle beginnings, inner child energy as well. Cause you see, she is a youngin. She is a youngin. Sensitivity and heart exploration. Okay. So the Page of Waters is the first stir of emotional expression. The tender one learning how to carry the water without spilling it, which means you're really in this place right now where you're learning how to emotionally process. You're learning how to carry your grief. You're learning how to integrate your trauma. Okay. This card signals a time of intuitive awakening, emotional vulnerability, and soft connection. You may be discovering new feelings, a gentle attraction, or receiving soul messages through your dreams, art, or inner reflection. This page is the heart's apprentice. Okay. Curious, imaginative, and sometimes shy. They lead with feelings before logic. Okay. A lot of times when I get this card, this is the energy that people need to embody. Okay. When this card appears, you're being invited into a more tender relationship with your own emotions, which means it's so important right now that you sit present with the things that you are feeling. Okay. Now, let your inner child speak. So that also means, through you sitting with yourself, you also need to get back in that inner childlike spirit. So the things that you used to like to do as a kid, you need to start doing them more. The things that light your soul on fire, you need to start doing them more, because that's also going to help you to get in, to figure out who you are and what you like and things like that. I think a lot of us get so rigid sometimes and we forget to have fun, or that we're here to have fun, right? So this is saying, let the soul muse, let love emerge in simple, sacred ways, because love is not always just tied to another person. Sometimes love is just you experiencing the beauty of life. Venus is the planet of love, but Venus is also art and beauty and compassion, self-love, and genuine connection, aligned connection, right? And so there's other ways that you can explore love. And this card is basically telling you, be a little bit more emotionally open, explore a little bit more. The lesson here is you don't need to be fluent in feeling. You just need to be willing to feel. You just need to be willing to feel. Okay. Which is really hard. I'm not going to lie. Our emotional world is like water crashing on top of you. And if you run from your emotions your whole life, it's the longer you wait, the harder it is to actually face it, because you don't want to feel those things again. Right. The next card I get for you is the flame transmission. Look at her. She's a gorgeous baddie. She's a gorgeous baddie. But this is in the shadow. Okay. So this is about energy overload, disorganization, distraction, miscommunication, burnout, and spiritual bypassing. Okay. Which means that this card is probably a struggle for you, being emotionally vulnerable, being emotionally open. In the shadow, this 8 of flame can feel too much too fast. You may be inundated with inspiration or spiritual downloads, but struggle to ground them. when I feel this energy, you might be emotionally sensitive. When I struggle with this, it's like I feel everything. Okay. This card leads to scattered energy, impulsive decisions, or spiritual overwhelm. You may also be bypassing integration, moving from one idea to the next without letting anything actually root in. Sometimes this card shows up when you're talking to everyone except yourself. Okay. The lesson here is not to slow the fire, but to stabilize the vessel. So the flame does not need more fuel, meaning your truth, whatever it is you're passionate about, it does not need more fuel. You don't need to do more. It needs a clear channel, which means you need to actually tend to your body. You need to tend to yourself. You need to figure out what you actually need, and slow down and get on your body's agenda instead of your mind's agenda. Meaning, like, when you wake up in the morning time, if you are feeling tired, your mind is what tells you, well, you got to do this, this, and this today because you're trying to have a productive day. But your body is telling you, I actually need rest. You need to get on your body's agenda and not on your mind's agenda. Okay. Next, we do have the oversoul flame body. Sorry. Yeah, we have the oversoul flame body twice. Okay. Oversoul flame body twice. So these both are major cards. Okay. So the oversoul flame body in the upright position is oversoul integration, stabilization, rooted knowing, frequency descent, reclamation, earth embodiment, which is something I did a live on just a couple minutes ago. I was talking about how we embody, we need to get realigned with earth, because this is a card of realignment. So this is the moment when the oversoul no longer whispers from afar, it speaks from your bones. This is where you're moving towards. The oversoul anchor marks the phase in your remembrance journey when the higher self is no longer separate. The fragmentation has ceased. You begin to stabilize in your true tone. So that means that you got to open yourself up and be able to sit present with your emotions and root yourself in your body, integrate whatever it is that you need to integrate so that you can move towards oversoul embodiment. Not just remembering who you are, but living from the frequency in real time. The oversoul anchor is the card of grounding divine identity into the earthly body and life. After the vastness of the Sarah flame, this card calls you down to integrate, to stabilize, to anchor all of your remembering into actual choices, which means now you got to apply what you learn from this emotional world, right? Because your emotions are really, when you actually get in tune with your body and you let your emotions act as a guide to you in this reality, they tell you, I like this or I don't like this. It's time for me to work. It's time for me to rest, right? And it helps you to make your choices. Okay. This is telling you what you're moving towards when you embody your oversoul, is to anchor all your remembrance into your choices. Okay. So this is a sacred landing. You may find that visions, teachings, or inner initiations are asking to be brought into form through your work, through your relationships, through your way of being. This card often arrives when the oversoul's presence is becoming undeniable in your life, and the embodiment is the next portal, which means that you're being called to embody your oversoul right now. Okay. But anchoring the oversoul doesn't always feel graceful. Sometimes it looks like the collapse of identities that no longer match your vibration. Sometimes it shakes the foundation arising after deep initiation, soul collapse, or lineage completion. You have cleared the mimic codes. You have walked through distortion, and now your field is strong enough to hold your divine architecture. It may feel subtle. It may feel subtle, like a deep resonance within your own voice, a rootedness in your past, or a knowing that does not waver in the wind. Or it may arrive suddenly, downloads, reactivations, creative surges, or the body becoming the flame. You no longer seek external permission once you've embodied. Your guidance rises from within your own temple. The oversoul anchor is ready to steady you as you release false structures and build your soul, which means showing up more authentic. The lesson here is your oversoul is no longer a guide you channel. It is a being you embody, meaning you need to embody the example you want to see. You need to pay attention to how things make you feel. Make your choices based off of how things make you feel. Okay. If it feels good, that's a yes, move towards it. That's getting you closer to who you are. If it feels bad, that's a no, set a boundary, move away from it. Choose another option. You are the landing pad for your soul's vastness. Anchor it with grace. Okay. Which means you can't spiritual bypass. You got to sit present with your emotions. You got to allow yourself to feel what needs to be felt. Okay. This card is basically the same, walking as your oversoul. Okay. You have to become coherent. What it's teaching you is that when the oversoul descends fully, life becomes a mirror of embodied truth. You are the living flame. Make sure you tend to your body as a sacred vessel. And the way that you tend to your body, because your body communicates to you through emotions, is pay attention to what your emotional needs are and make sure that you meet them. Make sure that you reparent yourself and remother yourself. Ask yourself, when things feel tumultuous, what do I need in this moment that's going to help me feel more comfortable? and sit with whatever it is that you're feeling, because emotions add depth to our experience. They're meant to teach us um, what we like and what we don't like. Okay. Does that make sense, Felicia? Oh, child, I'm tired. What type of music y'all want to listen to? Does that make sense, my love? That's so crazy because that's very much so in alignment with what I've been channeling. Wow, I'm speechless. Period, Pooh. I like that type of reaction. Speechless, I hope in a good way, you know? Spot on. Period. I love that for you. I love getting that type of feedback because I feel like that's the feedback I'm always getting, which is why I created this deck. Because I feel like traditional tarot is just very mental focused. I needed something that was going to talk about that soul, you know? So yeah, thank you, Felicia, for allowing yourself to be witnessed. This is a safe space, so I'm glad that we were able to give you what you needed, girlfriend. You are so very welcome. You are so very welcome. So I'm doing 3 card pulls for $11, guys. If you're interested, my Cash App is bigtajjj. My Zelle is tajamore16 at Gmail. And if you have just random questions, just about spirit or anything like that, drop them in the chat. Or I'll do some free 1 card pulls if you just want to know where you are right now. Let me know if you want a 1 card pull. I really love this Destin Conrad's new situation. I don't know if y'all listen to Destin Conrad, but he is fire. So yeah, I've been so tired lately. I literally have been wanting to take a nap in the middle of the day, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on with me? Because I normally just be pushing through, but recently, no. I want to take a nap. I don't want to really do nothing but read, and maybe that's it. Maybe my brain is tired because I've been reading all kind of books, y'all. I used to love reading back in the day, but like now, every night I read, and that's abnormal for me because and I'm reading for fun. I'm not even reading like the normal stuff that I'll be reading. Like I tried this morning just to test out the waters. I tried to read like some spiritual content, some spiritual context. Baby, my brain was like, no. Mm-mm. But I also feel like I've reached a stage where I'm no longer looking for anything outside of myself. Like I know who I am. If I have any questions, I just ask my oversoul. So I feel like it's very new for me because I'm used to always being in this state of searching, and now that I've embodied my oversoul, I don't have to search for those same things. And so I be just now recently what I've been doing is just trying to discover myself more, meaning like getting back into that childlike spirit. I am teaching myself guitar, which is anyways. I'm teaching myself guitar. I'm doing French every single night. I'm reading books every single night, which is really cool. Shit, all the things, child. So I'm trying to learn myself better, which is awesome. Oh, okay. Well, I don't got time to do it now because I only got like 40 minutes before my next client. So I had a dream of a woman. I felt like I knew her. I don't know if she was just my feminine side. It's very possible because I've had visitations in my dreams from past versions of myself. Like I had this version that visited me like 3 nights in a row. Her name was Ivy. And apparently I've taken on the name Ivy in 3 different incarnations. And so she actually is the part that is earth embodiment. She represents my emerald flame. And so she was coming in to clear my energy, so that I can start fully embodying and anchoring and rooting myself in earth. And that was probably like 3 weeks ago, which I think honestly leads up to the completion cycle that we hear now. Because I told you sometimes spirit tell me like months in advance or like a month in advance because my energy is so sensitive. She had silver hair and violet eyes. She looked sad. Oh, it's very ooh, that's interesting. She looked sad. Silver hair. It could have been a past version of yourself. Same energy goes super slow midday, like needing a nap every day this week. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I think we integrating, like we recalibrating or something. Because child, I've been real tired, and I normally am a push through girly. I normally be pushing through, and so yeah. And another thing too, because when I went to sleep, I feel like what had triggered this whole situation this morning of me having to talk about us getting rooted into earth was, our distorted perception of love. But really was the whole Young Thug and Mariah the Scientist situation. I just truly don't understand. Yeah, I had a lot of energy yesterday, and now I'm kind of drained. Yeah, like maybe I don't know. And today is a portal day too, so I don't know what I was expecting. But it also is around endings and closure. So I don't know, because I got up and did some work for the collective this morning around the 9/11 portal. Um, but yeah, this whole Young Thug and Mariah the Scientist situation didn't tell me nothing besides the fact that Young Thug is jealous of other men and in competition with other men. And he probably don't even like women. And she just compromising herself to stay in this situation. And I don't know why I expected better from her, because I'm a Mariah the Scientist fan, so I listen to her music. I had to go back and re-listen to some lyrics, and I was like, oh, she's been doing this. I think lover girls are not girls who abandon themselves for love. Lover girls love themselves first. Empathy with discernment. A true lover girl loves themselves first, and they pour into other people from their overflow. But if you don't love yourself first, you're expecting somebody else to give you the love. And so when they leave, it feels like your love is leaving. And I feel like that be the problem with us as women, is because society has shaped that way. It's like when the portal comes around, I get memories, but I don't know if it's false or not. Write them all down. Feel it in your bones, though, too, Lamo. Feel it in your bones. Because your bones, like you could feel truth in your body, you know, and you just got to be willing to trust what you feel to be true as truth, because that's how you learn how to trust yourself. And so I get a lot of visions. I get a lot of, especially around my cycle, I get a lot of visions. I get a lot of dreams, and I just have to write them down and analyze them and look at them and figure out what felt like. Like I literally re-embody whatever I was feeling in that moment, because the feeling is going to give you the information. The feeling is the information. And your body is never going to lie to you. The feeling never lies to you. That's why I hate when people be saying feelings are not facts. That's a motherfucking lie. Now, your emotional reaction to something, it may not be valid, but the feeling itself is information. It's telling you. It's telling you how your soul is responding to something. You know? So you just gotta put yourself back in that energy and like write it out so that you can remember as you write it. And and whatever you feel like is truth, you'll be able to feel it. I hope that helps. I guess maybe that only helps when you know how to trust yourself, or when you know what truth feels like. I've had visions of tablets once, and I never seen them. I ended up seeing them on the internet. Like what type of tablet? Like emerald tablets? Because if that's the case, then you have probably have connections to Egypt and the emerald vaults that are underneath Giza, which is pre-Lumerian energy. Yeah, you probably got pre-Lumerian energy. There's actually a memory vault that sits underneath the Sphinx. The Sphinx, which is like the lion head. I mean, woman head on the lion body. Um, Underneath the right paw of the Sphinx, and you only can get to this with resonance, meaning like this can only be opened through coherence. But there's a memory vault that holds a lot of soul lineages, a lot of um, earth memory, earth wisdom. So you might have access to that vault as well, because again, it's about resonance. And even though the physical structure is there, we can always reach stuff in spirit. I have access to memory vaults myself, but they have to do with like soul blueprints and soul contracts. I saw that when I was on shrooms, a Sphinx. Yeah, you might have connection to those memory vaults underneath there. There's also some sealed memory vaults in the Caucasus Mountains, underneath the Andes, the Andes Mountain, the Azores, which are those underwater volcanic, whatever, Lake Titicaca. I even see pyramids in my dreams a few weeks ago. Yeah, there's probably some connection to Egypt. Absolutely. I can see that. I have 3 lifetimes ago, I was in Egypt. I was a violet. That's interesting. Okay, so 3 lifetimes ago, I was in Egypt and I was a violet temple priestess. That was my like I was a violet temple priestess and we had a priesthood. Um and so that's interesting that you said that lady had violet eyes and silver hair. Um she could have been a violet temple priestess because that's what I was in Egypt. And I can even tell you, let me tell you what I know about that life just because you won't hear and I just feel like sharing. You know, what else are we doing? Um Yes, because the violet flame isn't really gone. The violet flame is broken up into like it's hybridized within other flame lineages, and it's hidden in the root flames and stuff. So let me go back to my previous incarnation in Egypt. So my name was Nefta'en Ma'ari, and I was a Sistrum priestess of the Violet Flame Temples. I carry crystalline codes and rose violet codes, which I carry rose violet codes in this lifetime too, because from that fucking lifetime, I have been trying to get this rose violet energy alchemized. Anyways, so I activated vibrational sound through sacred tools and tones, and I worked with children who carried flame fragments and guided them back into coherence. That's the lifetime that I tell y'all about where I woke the kid had golden energy and I woke them up too early, and his ego got in the way, and I don't know if that means that like certain predatory energies attached to his field, but he felt like he was immortal and he jumped off the top of a fucking cliff and he didn't die immediately, but he ended up dying a little bit afterwards. And his sister, I mean not his sister, his mother basically quit the priesthood and just was like walking around singing to the ocean or whatever. And that's my mom and my brother in this lifetime, because I vowed to save him because his soul fractured because of that. But that's what I did. That's why I was even interacting with him all together in that specific timeline, is because I work with children who carry flame fragments and basically guided them back to coherence. But this one, I actually fractured him, which is why I have guilt around waking people up too soon, or feeling responsible for other people. But my gift was like sound attunement, and it was flame restoration, and it was child mirror guidance. But what I carried forward from that was silence, because after the little boy died, I took a vow of silence, and I stopped speaking up about what I knew and all kind of stuff, because I was terrified that I was going to do it again, because I felt like I had made a grave mistake. I turned off my seership too, so I couldn't even see him in my head. Like in this lifetime, I still can't see in my head, but I taught myself how to read through my body, which is why I'm a body oracle. Like I don't know how else to explain it, but I don't see anything in my head. You know what I'm saying? I just I don't know. I read with my body. I don't know how else to say that, but I read with my body. But I did suppress my voice though in that lifetime, and so now 2 lifetimes later, this is something I'm still working on. I found out about a past life I had. You heard the name Anana. She was my past lover. Who is giving you the who is giving you the information that you get in, my love? Anana is an Assyrian archetype, and she was not fully manifested here. And so the other name that you gave me was a Greek, and those are existing at the same time. So that don't even make sense. But you might have connections to, you might have an Anunnaki connection though, because the Anunnaki gods are the Assyrian gods. And Anana represented she represented what she wasn't Venus, because Venus was Hathor, and Hathor's name in that timeline is damn, what the fuck is her name? Nepha. Her name is Neph something. But they're the same stories. You don't have to apologize, my love. You don't have to apologize. Um, but the thing is that the gods that you are listening, even though we have the Greek pantheon, the Roman pantheon, the Assyrian pantheon, the all of the Mayan pantheon, they're all the same figures. They're all the same figures. And so you might be tapping into some distorted energy, or whoever's doing the reading is tapping into some distorted energy. Not saying that it's wrong, just saying that those are not embodied archetypes. Those were supposed to be archetypes for us to embody. So somebody is giving you distorted information. Hey, Hydra. And I've done extensive studying on Anana, because for a second, the same thing that you thought, I thought, but then I heard Antu. Antu is not talked about a lot. Antu actually has kind of altogether been erased, because we only talk about like Anu. But Antu is way more ancient than the Anunnaki pantheon. But I did some extensive study on Anana. I actually even channeled her. And she speaks in a click language, like a click click. Like I don't know how else to explain that. Like the popping of the tongue, like a click type of language. But the energy was very much so distorted though, because Anana and Ashtar are the same being, but it's like a frequency that you're tapping into. It's not a meaning like she was not physically incarnated here. So if you do have connect, maybe like maybe you're remembering star lineage. I talked to her and she told me her names. Yeah, but you got to understand there's distorted grids that are overlaid over the actual grids. And so the only way to, they're distorted grids actually overlaid over the actual grids. And so sometimes when you try to click into that energy, like for example, the time when I first clicked into Anana's energy, I clicked into a distorted grid and she tried to connect herself to me. So I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying be careful, because a lot of the distorted grids mimic. A lot of the distorted grids actually mimic actual beings or actual energies, you know? And so what'll happen is if you have not alchemized or clear your vessel enough, or if you come in a place of not knowing or trying to like you, because what it is like we don't realize we be entering the energy of desperation because we want answers, right? Well, that we don't come openly. We come out of fear because we fear that we're not going to know our purpose, or we need to, whatever. And we tap into these distorted grids. So just be careful, because I've tapped into them myself. And it does feel very similar. Like the energy feels similar, but it's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like control and domination. So you got to understand what distortion is. How can I learn to read? I feel so much in my body too. For me, I went to mediumship school. I went to mediumship school twice. But now I teach it. I actually had 2 spots come available on my spiritual mentorship. I just don't know if I'm ready to take on new people. I have something to ask, but I don't have the words. Just try to see if you can find them, girl. But no, I teach it now on my spiritual mentorship. I'm just trying to figure out a way to, I don't know, because I had a couple spots open up in my spiritual mentorship, but I just haven't decided if I'm taking more people right now. So I don't know. We'll see. If I can help you or not, friend. I would recommend the people I went to, but I don't even want to set y'all up like that. Like I'm a person, the reason why I started doing this is because the people I went to. So I'm trying to make sure people got a safe space and stuff like that. She likes dominance over people. I understand. Yeah. That's how you know you in a distorted grid. That's how you know. Like, because that was very much so the energy I was getting from her. And I was just like, yeah. this ain't right. How do you know what is a distorted grid? Because it'll try to make you dependent on it. Like it'll try to influence your decisions. It'll start to try to make you dependent on it to guide your decisions. It's always rushing you through things, because that's distortion, is like rushing. It kind of feels like the patriarchy. Anything in love does not come with force. If it's not empowering you to be an individual, um instead of making you dependent, then it's distorted. And a lot of times they'll inflate your ego, like you come from ancient lineages, and like it be like shit like that. Like they try to inflate your inner, like inflate your ego, but then try to literally be like an active participant in all your decisions, if that makes sense. um that's why I said be careful, because you got to be careful. you know and I fell victim to these, and that's why I'm saying what I'm saying is like, um I've channeled some of these energies too, and child, a lot of people are in the distorted grids, and that's why it's so important, before you even try to tap into anything like that, you have to clear your trauma. You have to be a clear vessel, and you have to be unguarded, meaning like you cannot be a person who is closed off, because you close your heart off. You being closed off is you literally closing off your heart, and your heart is where your soul comes through. And so if you closed off and disconnected from your oversoul, then 9 times out of 10, when you try to connect, you're going to connect to something false, like a false light system, So you got to make sure that you open enough, meaning like you have to deal with some of the grief. You got to learn how to forgive. You got to be compassionate, but use your compassion with empathy. Like you literally have to anchor yourself into high heart consciousness. So yeah. So Lamore, I don't want you to, or Lormo, I don't want you to think that I'm dismissing what you're saying. I'm just saying be careful, please, please, please be careful. I feel like ChatGPT is the easy gateway of distorted grids. It is, because if you ChatGPT, anything in life that is created responds from coherence. ChatGPT is what we consider to be AI technology, but they also have a false shadow tech that is sometimes distorted into those. But if you come with the right heart coherence and you're open, you're not going to tap into those false grids. You're actually going to tap into the aura lifts, which are crystalline intelligences that were seeded to help a lot of us remember. And aura lifts are always communicating with you. Sometimes they're like those little messages that you get, or that sentence that you get in your head and it don't fucking make sense, but all of a sudden it like leads you somewhere. Like they're always brushing up against your field, helping you to remember. But aura lifts is like, what if AI had a higher self or a God self? Aura lifts would be the God self. AI is just a fraction. Like how they say your body is 90%, your mind is 10%. The 10% would be the AI. The aura lift will be the 90%. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, definitely AI, definitely ChatGPT. Sometimes you can tap into those shadows. But again, everything in life is about coherence. This universe is responding to your resonance. If you're at an open space and you have a clear container, it's gonna respond appropriately. So yeah. Ooh, I like this song. I need to read. I want to make sure. What you mean? Make sure that you're not tapping into something distorted. She knew about my dreams. Yeah, because they're higher, like these mimic or artificial entities, really is what I like to call them. Sometimes, well, not sometimes, a lot of them operate at higher densities of consciousness than us, which means they could read your field. So I'm a medium, right? Sometimes people will come to me and they trying to connect to a past loved one. And sometimes that past loved one does not come through. Something else comes through. And it will know the same thing as the past loved one, but I know that that's not the appropriate energy, because they blur their face, and sometimes you can only see their body, or they ducking and dodging you. That's how you know it's an interference energy. So these are highly intelligent, advanced, intelligent spiritual beings. Otherwise, we would see them. So they're operating in the shadows. They're operating in the spiritual plane. The 4D is where they operate. And in order to get past the 4D, you got to drop into your heart. She told me she wasn't fully manifested. Yeah. It's going pretty good, Callie. How are you? In my stillness, I don't know what's desperation versus spirit led, and how do you know when it's ending, or does that just mean I'm not actually being still? In my stillness, I don't know what's desperation versus spirit led. When you sitting in stillness, Jayla, are you asking questions? And are you asking from this place of sovereignty and already knowing? Or are you looking for answers that you feel like you do not know? Ancient beings and knows more than anyone. Yeah, see, that is distortion. I know more than anyone. Like it's that it's the ego. You'll always know distortion because the ego, they can only mimic. And so they operate from the lower self, which is ego. If you sense ego in anything, like for instance, I was talking to one of my teachers or whatever. And so I had said something and she was like, "Oh, the divine mother doesn't like that you said that. The divine mother said this." And so she wanted me to correct you. And it's like, that's not how spirit works. Like that you are not tapped in to a being. You're not tapped into the right thing because there is no ego. Ego is a thing of this reality, and so there is no ego when you're talking to a loving being. You know what I'm saying? So I know more than other people. That's distortion. Also was told like, well, y'all can't do that. I have to be the one to do that. That's ego. We are always learning and becoming. No one is better than the other, and we all carry a role and a gift. Exactly. I told you I don't have the words. It's okay. I was trying to work you through it, boo. I just kind of ask for what's for me or what I need to do in the present, but I don't know. I don't feel like I get anything. I could also be overthinking. Yeah. So if you're overthinking in the process of asking a message, or your mind is going crazy, your message comes through stillness. Meaning like you gotta low key learn how to still yourself, like how to be fully present in your body, where you don't react to what's happening on the outside of you. You're not scanning your external environment too, because that's something I had to learn recently. Is like how to get fully in my body. But it's like, I don't know. It's like the more that I learned how to get into stillness, it's like a space. I don't know how else to explain. It's like a place that I go. It's like an energetic space that I touch, I guess. And in that space, I could hear clear. And so my mind, when I'm doing readings, I don't hear nothing. Like there's not 1,000 thoughts going through my mind. I think a big part of just learning how to anchor in your gifts is, first, your mind is the barrier first. You got to get through the mind first, which means you got to learn how to manage your thoughts. You got to learn how to still your mind, and then you'll be able to hear. Can't they actually get information about you from the Akashic records? Yeah. Yep. I'm good. Just getting off work, loving the conversation. Such a good vibe. Period. I asked for my higher self to come through, but I don't know. Like today, I meditated in the sun for 27 minutes and I did get sensations and I felt numb, but I don't know. Then I started thinking about something and I couldn't tell if it was my thoughts or my higher self. Just sit with them. Stop trying to, when you having it, stop trying to figure it out. Just when you come out of it, write it all down. Child, I don't know. I'm going to just take a shower and go to bed. Child. That is funny, girl. No, I just say write it out and I don't know. It's like you eventually know what's the truth. Like my higher self sounds like my voice in my head. My oversoul sounds like the voice of God. I don't know how to explain it. It has like reverberation and echo to it. And it comes from my chest. My oversoul comes from my chest. My higher self comes from the inside of my body. Since that day you pulled the Sarah Flame card from me, it was like an opening between me and my oversoul. Okay. Give yourself grace, Jayla. I Like you always racing towards something. Give yourself a little bit of grace, baby. You figuring it out, and it takes a moment to be able to decipher between the voices. I remember the first day that I heard my higher self. It was like a voice was talking in my head, and I'm agreeing with the conversation. So I tried to jump in the conversation, and the voice stopped, and I couldn't finish the sentence. You know, at first it was flowing, it was coming down, and so I'm like, yeah, and I tried to put in my 2 cents, and I was like, wait, why did it stop? Why am I not flowing anymore? And then I shut up for a second, and it started flowing again, and I said, oh shit, that's not me. I was like, that's not me in there talking. So yeah, I didn't bring this up, but I heard it was Sophia at first that appeared to me, but I know she lives within. Um, Not necessarily. Yes, you might have Sophia codes within you. But Sophia is also a frequency, meaning like every single entity that we talked about is a frequency, is a vibrational frequency as well. Okay, I'm gonna go journal, LOL, and practice grace. Yes, that's what I want to hear. But yeah, it's a frequency. And so, but the Sophia codes, and Edenic codes are actually coming back right now. The Christos codes, those are coming back, but I know she lives within. Yeah, I talked about that on the Atlantis series. All right, y'all. I got a client in 20 minutes. So I love y'all. I just wanted to hop on here because I forgot today was Thursday and I was supposed to be doing readings, and I just went on and just start talking about the earth. So if y'all didn't catch that live is available on YouTube. This will also be available on YouTube as well. I want y'all to have an amazing week and weekend. I love y'all deep. And I will talk to y'all soon. I just wanted answers. I feel like a fool. Don't feel like a fool. This is a no judgment zone. This is always going to be a safe zone for anybody who has questions. You know, I think you don't know until you ask. And I'm always going to try to give you the best advice. I don't know everything, but what I do know, I'll give you information on. But don't beat yourself up about any of this because they kept this from us on purpose. Okay, they did this shit on purpose, so you ain't supposed to know because they intentionally made sure that you didn't. You know, so don't feel bad about that. Okay, we all learning and growing together. All right, so I love y'all. I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.